I'm Gary Parrish. Welcome back. CBS Sports Eye on College Basketball Podcast, where we sometimes discuss camel fighting, dodo birds, and leaky black. Kyle Boone is here with me. Look who's here with me. If you're watching live on YouTube, be Brandon Davies. Smash a little bit. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the CBS Sports Eye on College Basketball Podcast, please go do that wherever you subscribe to podcasts like Apple and Spotify. Let's get into it. And the place to start is, I think, Ann Arbor, Michigan, where Michigan came from 11 points down to beat previously unbeaten and unfortunately shorthanded Nebraska last night. The final score was Wolverines 75, Cornhuskers 72. Nebraska was missing two of its top three scores at tip-off, closed as a double-digit underdog, but still had a shot at the buzzer to force overtime. KB, good to see you on this Wednesday morning. What'd you make of Michigan giving Nebraska its first loss of the season, its first loss in a long time?
Yeah, good morning. Great to see you this morning, GP. It looks like you were well rested, ready to attack this day.
Buddy, I don't think anybody in the world is more rested than I am right now. I feel good. What story are my eyes telling this morning?
It tells me you got about 30 seconds of sleep last night.
Oh, man, I definitely got more than that. Got more than that, but probably not as much as they suggest. I got more than you guessed, but probably not as much as they suggest, right? But
yeah.
Man, you can't. But look, hey, you know what? I got plenty of time to get an afternoon nap in. I'm going to be okay.
There we go. It's been a week. But what a game! Yeah, what a game. Michigan ends up winning this game. Nebraska, as you noted, was shorthanded. Rink Mass ruled out just before the game with the flu. Tried to give it a go. Hoiberg said, but just could not. And if you've had the flu, you know that it is tough. He could not hold down any liquids. Obviously could not play in this game. Braden Frager also out with an injury. So that was Nebraska's second and third leading scorers out for that game. And Nebraska took it to them. They were very impressive out of the gate. Jamarcus Lawrence had some, Jordan juice or something, because 16 points in the first half. He was tremendous. He and Price Sandfort had 4 3-pointers in the first half, but Nebraska just ran out of gas. And that's what Hoiberg said after the game. Like, Michigan's physicality just completely wears you down. And that was the case. They tracked him down in the second half. Michigan just had too many horses, and Michigan hands Nebraska its first loss of the season, its first loss since March of 2025.
If you were messing around on social media last night and you typed the word Hoiberg into Twitter, it sort of auto-filled into charge, because that became a bit of a controversial thing last night. It's 72-72. There's a little more than a minute left in the game. Trey McKinney goes baseline, scores what ultimately ends up being the game winner. No whistle, but it looked like Sam Hoiberg drew a charge. KB, did you see that moment? And if so, do you agree with the Nebraska fans who were irate on social media last night?
We are all Nebraska fans this morning. That was a charge, GP.
Yeah.
I don't know how you don't call that. And Hoiberg was I thought he was pretty well restrained in his postgame. I watched his conference last night, and he said, look, we thought we had position, not sure what else we could have done to draw the foul there. They let him play on. Michigan ends up winning off of that, and you can't do much more than that. I think they had a real chance to get that foul, and then, maybe things go a different way for Nebraska. Regardless, I think obviously there's no moral victories, but there are kind of some moral victories. And the fact that you went to Ann Arbor, down your second and third leading scorers, take, potentially one of the top 3 title favorites to the final buzzer. Very impressive what we saw from Nebraska last night. This is a for real Cornhuskers team. I think we knew that coming into the game. Obviously, the 20-0, they were 9-0 in conference play. People were taking this team seriously, right, GP? But to do what they did last night, even in a loss, I think it opened some eyes that, this Nebraska team is for real. And even Hoiberg after the game said more of the same thing, which was, hey, look, we don't have Frager, we don't have Mass, no Oogie, no Connor. Lose by a basket to a team that, a lot of people project to win the national championship. That shows the character of our team, also shows we can compete with anyone in the country. And, I think it's hard to argue with what Hoiberg said after the game last night.
I'm glad you said all that, because I do think that's the main takeaway from last night. And I also understand why a Michigan fan might be listening and going, yo, we're the one that beat a top 5 team last night.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
Hey, there was a top 5 matchup in college basketball on Tuesday night. We won it. Why are you guys spending the opening A block talking about Nebraska? But I really that is really where I landed last night as well. I was in studio here in New York, Inside College Basketball wrap up at 1 a.m. Eastern. And I said this. So I'm in studio with Pete Gillen, the legend, and Ice Young, future legend. And I was like, does Nebraska have more believers at 20-1 than it had at 20-0? Mm-hmm. And I think maybe so. And maybe even in their own locker room, because whether it was Sam Hoiberg or Fred Hoiberg, they both last night said things like, we just showed we can play with anybody in the country. We just showed we're a Final Four contender. And think about that for a second. You've now got student athletes, or at least a student athlete at a school that's never won a game in the NCAA tournament, saying we just showed we can go to the Final Four. And I saw the replies. People can goof on him if you want to, but that is what they have showed. This is a real basketball team that can go to a Final Four. This is a real basketball team that can win the Big Ten. It's not just a story connected to the 0 in the loss column that no longer exists. That's where we were. Best story in the sport. Hey, did you know they've never won a game in the NCAA tournament? This is the best story in the sport. Man, they've never won a game. Now we're done with that. All right. Yeah. They're not undefeated anymore. Let's call Miami, Ohio the best story in the sport. We'll get to that later. But this is a Big Ten contender. This is a Final Four contender. And I think going into Ann Arbor and like just trading punches for literally 40 minutes, trading punches with a team that everybody agrees can win the national championship. If you can start a season 20-0, beat Illinois, beat Michigan State, win all the other games they won, and then go trade punches for 40 minutes with a team we all know can win the national championship, a team that has been at different points in the season the favorite to win the whole thing in the betting markets, number 1 in the computers, number 1 in the AP poll. If you can start 20-0 and then go play that game you played last night while missing 2 of your top 3 scorers, you are in play for everything. This is no longer just a cute thing. This is a team that can get trophies.
Absolutely. And I think Nebraska has largely held that belief, maybe internally, for a while. But it has gone from this is wow, what a turnaround for the Cornhuskers. But maybe we're not taking them totally seriously. I think after last night, it was an inflection point. And even to lose that game in Ann Arbor, the way that they did it, playing shorthanded, battling against Michigan, which on paper is a terrible matchup for Nebraska. To do what they did last night, even in the loss, yes, I think we are starting to take them more seriously, and I think college basketball fans at large are taking them more seriously, as they should be. Nebraska is more than just a good story. Nebraska is a great basketball team that can win the national championship in 2026.
No breaks for either one of these teams. Next up for Michigan, at Michigan State on Friday. That'll be terrific. And next up for Nebraska, Illinois on Sunday inside Pinnacle Bank. We come back. Let's do the Wednesday Whiparound. But first, a word from our partners.
This isn't just combat. It's cinema.
Ready or not, here I come. Let's go! Are you not entertained?
The new home of UFC, Paramount Plus.
All right, it's time for the Wednesday Whiparound, and let's just stay in the Big Ten for now. Final score, Indiana 72, number 12 Purdue 67. It was in Bloomington. The Boilermakers have dropped 3 straight. Are you concerned, or is this an Aaron Rodgers relax moment?
I'm concerned. I'm concerned about Purdue. I'm concerned about your genetic makeup, GP. Are you what percentage Boilermaker are you when you woke up this morning?
I don't even know that I'm awake yet, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that might not get till we, settle into a little SEC part of the program based on the rundown. I might not be completely awake till we get to the SEC part of the rundown, but I'd like to think I'm better than allowing my percentage of Boilermaker to be influenced by wins and losses. I'd like to think I'm a little better than that, like that I can ride the highs and lows with you. But I can tell you it's more enjoyable being a Boilermaker when you're not losing 3 in a row. I can tell you that for sure.
It's tough. It's tough.
It's a tough situation.
This Purdue team is strange. It's been a tough slide, whatever you want to call it.
It's a slide, according to Norlander. And I want to be clear. I don't know that I co-sign all of this that he put together. I don't know that I co-sign all of this, but I appreciate his effort. And according to him, he's going to call it a slide. So for now, until I'm willing to put in more effort, I'm going to call it a slide.
I just, of all the people on our staff, that Norlander has given that the most thought. So I think we'll just give it to him. Purdue has gone on a slide. This is their 3rd consecutive loss, and Purdue's 3-point defense is a total mess right now. During their 3-game losing streak, they gave up 9 of 20 shooting from 3-point range to UCLA. Illinois made 18 threes versus them, 18 of 38 3-point shooting. Last night, 12 threes from Indiana to sink the Boilermakers. And, after the game, Matt Painter was just kind of at a loss for words. Like, look, Indiana was tougher than us. We gave up too many open looks. We have to find guys who can do it for 40 minutes with better resolve. And I think Purdue's at an inflection point in their season where, they're trying to find guys in their rotation who can consistently bring it on defense. Right now, what they're doing isn't working. And it's certainly a sore spot for this Purdue team that was, as I might remind listeners, the preseason #1 team in college basketball. But also I think just a highlight of just how deep and heavy the top of the Big Ten really is. And so, you can go on any given night. Indiana is not a team that I think most people would chalk up as a national title contender. But Purdue is, and Purdue went into Bloomington, end up losing. If you don't bring your best stuff on any given night, these types of results can absolutely happen.
Yeah, but certainly you go back to different points in the season. Indiana shouldn't be beating Purdue. We know which team is better, but that is in-state stuff, rivalry stuff, assembly hall stuff, and you throw all that into a pot, start stirring it up. You're going to get some, I'll never be surprised if either one of those teams wins a game in this series, just based on a whole bunch of stuff. But undeniably, Purdue is not the same team that it looked like at an earlier point in this season. How about this? So 0-3 in the past 3. Goes back to January 20th. I'm a data sorter. You that about me.
Yes.
So I went. It's probably at some point while most people were sleeping, I was sorting data. Hey, while most people were sleeping, I was sorting data. That's a fact.
That's criminal behavior, DP.
While most people were sleeping, I was sorting data and doing laundry. I did laundry at 3:00 in the morning just because I'm out of clothes. I haven't been home. I did laundry in the top floor of my hotel at 3:00 in the morning, and I was sorting data. While my clothes were drying, I was sorting data. And here's what I found. Since January 20th, Purdue is 0-3. Rated 45th at Bart Torvik. So before you think the world's falling, it's just still top 50. That's not Purdue. That's not Purdue standards, but still top 50. But here's the problem. Just as you noted, you had it exactly right. The defense rates 165th in the country in that 0-3 stretch. That is, you cannot do any of the things Purdue wants to do, Purdue should do, guarding like that. So they've got to get it. They've got to get that under control. Next up is Sunday against Maryland. So if you were looking for somebody that's struggling worse than you, congrats, you found them. You found them. So maybe that's a get right situation. But I guess I'll just put it this way: if I would have asked you at any point in the offseason, the preseason, KB, Purdue schedule's out, take a look. Is there a 3-game losing streak in there anywhere? They don't do that.
Yeah, probably not. They had a tough non-conference schedule, and I think they largely fared pretty well. Maybe you could talk yourself into a 3-game losing streak, but yeah, no, certainly. I had Purdue as I think probably the preseason number 2 team for me behind UConn. And this is just a tough stretch. I would say like this feels like more just a tough stretch than like maybe an exposing of Purdue. Like I still am probably buying some Purdue stock if you're selling, but this is undeniably a tough stretch, and they'll have to figure out a way to bounce out of this. I think Matt Painter can probably find a way to do that because he's done that consistently. But right now it's looking pretty ugly, and losing to Indiana, even in Bloomington last night, the way that they lost that, certainly discouraging if you're any percentage Boilermaker.
I did not expect them to ever go through a 3-game losing streak in this season. So I'm surprised by this, but I'm with you. I think I'd buy Purdue stock if you're selling. I'll believe in the program. I'll believe in the coach. I'll believe in the All-American in the backcourt, the All-American in the front court. Like we're not guessing with this team. Like with St. John's, like you're kind of like, well, can they be great? Like, like they're playing better now, and they've won. They've got a little winning streak going, and but you're still kind of just guessing, wondering if it can become something you haven't quite seen yet. We've seen Purdue be great. I trust they can get back there and probably will soon. One more result in the Big Ten. Final score, number 7, Michigan State 88, Rutgers 79 in OT. Here across the river from where I'm sitting, Jeremy Fears was crazy. Scored 27 points after halftime and finished with a career high 29. Oh, it was a foul up three moment at the end of regulation. Somebody didn't take advantage. And, oh, buddy, sometimes you just know as soon as the game goes to overtime, oh, I know who's winning this one.
Yeah.
This was I knew who was winning this one just the second it got to overtime.
Yeah, 100%. It felt like, oh wow, once we got to that second extra period, you're like, okay, this is over, buddy. And Fears took over in the second half, and even in overtime. Actually, Fears outscored Rutgers single-handedly in the overtime. He had 10 of his 29 points in overtime. As you mentioned, 27 of his 29 in the second half in overtime. This was a spot where I think Michigan State nearly got caught looking ahead to that Friday night game versus Michigan. Nearly got caught. Nearly. End up pulling out the win. Would have been an ugly loss versus Rutgers. And Michigan State pulls it out as they have done consistently here over the last couple weeks, setting up as I noted, a very, very good Friday night game versus Michigan State.
Let's move on to the SEC. Final score, number 18, Vanderbilt 80, Kentucky 55. That was in Nashville. If you're wondering why Norlander's not here, it's because he was in Nashville. Might still be in Nashville. He had a late night, got an early morning. We hope he travels home safely. Nashville's been in bad shape, by the way. That ain't too far from where I live. And like my kids, I don't think my kids are ever going back to school.
I don't either.
Like it's just
still here. Yeah.
Mine are like, yeah. I mean, it ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm just sitting in a hotel room, but like, I think my wife's going crazy. No, they sent me a video yesterday. My little guys are like getting stir crazy. They have been in their home since Friday. They haven't left their home other than to run around the neighborhood and slide around with other kids. They haven't left their home since Friday, I think. And so my little guy's like begging his mother, like, hey, can we go? Like, he just wants to go somewhere. And she's like, we can't drive. It's not safe. We can't even get the car out of the garage because it's like my driveway is frozen like blocks of ice. It's not snow, it's ice. And we don't have so he was outside. She sent me this video yesterday with a baseball bat pounding ice because he's trying to crack it so that maybe he can get his car out of the garage so that they can go do whatever it is he wants to do. So like it's bananas. And Norlander was in the middle of that. They know how to handle it better up here. Like you put ice down up here, they just, they melt it and then they move on. We don't melt things. We got to wait on the sun down in the south. And so,
that's right.
It's wild. And so I hope Norlander is able to get around wherever he's trying to get around and get back home as quickly as he can. Anyway, whatever his problems are, they ain't as bad as Kentucky's. I know they're shorthanded. I got that, but you're not supposed to lose like that. It's not like they were a 25-point underdog last night. They were a 5.5-point underdog last night, even after the betting markets knew everybody who would play and everybody who wouldn't play, and then they got smoked. What do you make of what happened?
Shocking. I mean, obviously my attention was focused on Nebraska, Michigan last night, but watched part of that game. And I actually looked at the score and I thought it was like, we're having similar issues in Oklahoma. We're having some power outages. We have a ton of snow, ice, etc. I thought my internet was not working. This was a shocker. I did not expect Vanderbilt to take it to Kentucky the way that they did. And, I thought it was not necessarily cool, but during the broadcast, actually, they highlighted Mark Byington sleeping at the Vanderbilt facilities. That is how insane the power outages in Nashville have been. Apparently his home is without power. His home is like 30, 40 degrees. And so, essentially he's been sleeping at the athletic center, just basically woke up and walked downstairs and kicked Kentucky's booty. I mean, this was an absolute butt whooping. Tyler Tanner, 19-5-4. Tyler Nickel, 19-3. Vanderbilt, this was just a performance in true Vanderbilt fashion. 7 first half 3-pointers, 15 points off of turnovers from Kentucky in the first half. And that set the tone for the rest of the game. It wasn't close. Kentucky just forgot to show up for this one. And man, shocker, because Kentucky walked in this game, as we talked about yesterday, on a 5-game winning streak. And not only to lose, but to lose the way they did, I thought it was pretty stunning.
That's the thing. I'm not surprised that this thing started to go the wrong way on them. And I sort of suggested, certainly if you listen to this podcast, I suggested that I thought it might. Like, I know they've won 5 straight, but ooh, buddy, this is going to fall apart in a minute. And so here we are, I guess. But I didn't think, fall apart in a minute doesn't mean get blasted in Nashville. And they've now been to Nashville twice this season. The first time against Gonzaga. I just sort of recall this because I was just at Gonzaga and it was brought up like, oh yeah, we saw them at a low point, but they played 2 games in Nashville and lost to the Zags by 35 and to the Commodores by 25. I mean, they've lost 2 games in Nashville this season by a combined 60 points. So maybe get out of Music City. And it doesn't get any easier, or it might be the worst spot you could possibly be in if you're Mark Pope now, because now you got to go to Fayetteville, you got to go to Bud Walton, you got to coach against the guy who replaced you or who you replaced, obviously, and that was interesting last season, and if you go get that one handed to you in a bad way too, like the loud things you're already hearing, they just get louder. Whether there's any substance to them or not, it's still loud. It's still a lot of noise.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just for context, just reminding people who maybe tuning in for the first time, this is a preseason top 10 Kentucky team. Right. The roster was somewhere reported between 20 and 25 million, which is most likely among the most expensive, if not the most expensive rosters in college basketball. They've had a ton of injuries, attrition. Jalen Lowe's out for the season. Jaden Quainton's dealing with injuries. But you can't do this if you're at Kentucky, and you're going to hear it. Kentucky fans are going to let you know if they're not happy with the results on the court, and losing by 25 to Vanderbilt in Nashville, while Vanderbilt is ranked and Kentucky is not the way, I think, to buy back some belief from BBN. And so, yeah, the stretch upcoming is going to be really difficult for Kentucky, especially being shorthanded the way they are right now. Things could get worse before they get better in Lexington.
Things could get worse, and then they could get worse. Up next for Vandy is at Ole Miss on Saturday. Like we've noted, for UK, it's at Arkansas against John Calipari, at risk of falling to 0-2 against Coach Cal after happily allowing him to leave Kentucky for Arkansas. That's something. Final score, number 15 Arkansas. Speaking of, 83, Oklahoma 79. This one was in Norman. If Mark Pope is not doing okay right now, John Calipari is. The Hawks have won 3 straight. I've got them up to 16 in the top 25 and 1. The school, I guess, just to sort of drill down on this, the school that took John Calipari from Kentucky is currently doing better than Kentucky. So that's interesting.
It is very interesting. Makes you think. The grass is not always greener, folks. Arkansas doing very well right now, getting a win last night over OU. OU struggling. I think that's absolutely worth noting here. 7 straight losses for the Sooners. They're now 1-7 in SEC play. Had to do a lot of digging to find this. That's the second worst start to a season since 1955-56 for the Sooners in conference play. Probably moving towards a coaching change this offseason. But Arkansas doing very well. 21 points, 9 assists for Darius Acuff last night. Arkansas 3 straight wins. And some notable momentum going into Saturday's home game versus Kentucky. Calipari versus Kentucky. Both where Arkansas is right now, trending in the right direction, trending up, ranked inside the top 20 and your top 25 and 1, and then Kentucky getting blasted in Nashville, as we noted, makes for Saturday viewing that should be very, very compelling.
That's a neat combination of results that I'm sure getting discussed throughout Kentucky today. One more result in the SEC. Final score, number 23, Alabama 90, Missouri 64 in Tuscaloosa. Big blowout for the bubbly Tigers. We don't need to spend, multiple minutes here, but you never want to be a bubble team losing by 26 in the last week of January to a team that was just 3-3 in its past 6. I mean, G League player or not, you don't want to get blasted like that. Am I right?
No, you're absolutely right. And when Alabama goes full Alabama, you kind of stand no chance. That's what happened last night. 15 threes. Latrell Wrightsell had 7 of them. GP, that is the 35th time since Nate Oates arrived in 2019 that Alabama's made 15 or more threes in a game. Trivia time.
Okay.
Alabama's 15 or more threes in a game is the second most among all college basketball teams over the last 7 seasons. I'm going to try and wake you up here. Which team ranks first ahead of Alabama in that span? You'll never guess it.
Well, then let's not even try.
It's North Florida.
I was gonna guess North Florida.
I saw that was on the tip of your tongue.
I was like, is it North Florida? Or I was struggling between North Florida and the Celtics, and I was like,
yes.
And then I was just like, let's not waste people's time. I got another show to do, in 45 minutes or so. But North Florida was going to be my guess.
You got it. This is exactly right. North Florida, 39 times, the only team that has made 15 or more threes in a game during the span that Nate Oates has taken over that program, just to highlight the prolific three-point shooting that has proliferated at Alabama since Oates arrived in Tuscaloosa.
That was tough for a nice win for Alabama, obviously, but Missouri is one of those teams that it's been on the bubble for a couple of weeks now, like right side, wrong side. Once you're living that life, every game is huge. And so nothing wrong with losing at Alabama. Most people will, but not like that. You don't want to do it like that. One notable result from the ACC. Final score, number 17, Virginia 100, Notre Dame 97, double overtime. South Bend, the Irish, it was a foul up 3 situation. They didn't execute. They lost. My man, Pete Gillen, he was on one last night, but he is a true believer in the foul up 3. I mean, there is nothing. Pete Gillen's one of the nicest men I know. He ain't got a bad word to say about anybody other than coaches who will not foul up 3 in the final seconds. Oh, he doesn't like you at all. He likes everybody else in this world. He's a good man. But when you do not, and we had 2 situations last night, one at Rutgers, one with Notre Dame. If you don't foul up 3, Pete Gillen, his heart turns black toward you.
It's a tough scene. Good win for Virginia.
You should see it up close. On air and off.
Got to foul up 3 per Pete Gillen. I think I agree with that. Virginia gets the win. Probably closer than it should have been. Double overtime. Virginia was actually trailing by 19 points in the first half. In this game, end up coming all the way back. Per Preston Willett, writer for the Sabre, it's actually the largest comeback win since 2006 when Virginia came from 19 points down to beat Arizona. DeRidder had 32 points, 8 rebounds in the win. We talked about this yesterday, GP. ACC feels wide open behind Duke.
Right.
Absolutely keeps Virginia in the mix. Duke's going to win the ACC. That feels pretty inevitable at this point. But Virginia getting the win, I think keeping in the mix, at least if Duke slips up or some other team slips up, they're kind of waiting in the wings there.
All due respect, but Duke might end up treating the ACC the way Gonzaga treats the WCC.
Yeah.
There seems to be a gap between them and everybody else. We can argue about who's second, but there's no argument about who's going to finish first. One notable result from the A10 as a former master of ceremonies, A10 Media Day pre-pandemic, final score number 21, St. Louis 79, George Washington 76. SLU is 20-1, 14-game winning streak. Lone loss is to Stanford by 1. Like we're sitting here after we lose Nebraska from the list of undefeated teams, and it's like, okay, and now there's 2. And those 2 get a lot of attention. Like we're about to talk about Miami, Ohio again, because you should, because they're one of only 2 undefeated teams left in the country. But St. Louis would be getting all of that attention as well if it just weren't for a 1-point loss to Stanford. Like one stop, one more basket, and you are a part of that conversation as well. Then we're doing, segments on Inside College Basketball talking about, so who's going to be the last team to take a loss? Will it be this, or you would be a part of that? Either way, incredible. 14-game winning streak. Lone loss to Stanford by 1. Strength of record is now, I believe, up to 20. It's a good basketball team that, as I said last night on the air, I don't mean they can go to the NCAA tournament when I say it's an NCAA tournament team. Obviously it is.
Yeah.
I mean they can win games, plural, with an S. This is a team that can go to a Sweet 16, and once you're there, man, just keep dreaming.
Yes, absolutely. 20-1, as you noted, perfect 8-0 in A10 play. And it's a good team. They have a good coach, Josh Ertz. They have a great player in Robbie Avila, who had the game-winning 3 last night, 22 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Like all the makings, GP, when you're looking to fill out your bracket of a mid-major with some serious punch, St. Louis checks all of those boxes, as you noted, just basically one possession away from having a perfect season at this point. A notable win last night over George Washington. And yeah, like this team is absolutely going to be a team to watch in the NCAA tournament. I am probably, depending on the matchup, going to end up being higher on St. Louis in the NCAA tournament than probably most others, because this team is for real. Robbie Avila is for real. The coach is for real. Like this team checks a ton of boxes, what you look for.
Perhaps this is a situation where we have saved the best for last, but Miami, Ohio, 86, UMass, 84. I think it was a debate. If you were interested in debating about stuff that I guess doesn't really matter in any sort of meaningful way, but still, what's the best story in college basketball? Undefeated Nebraska that's never won a game in the NCAA tournament, or undefeated Miami, Ohio, at Travis Steele and the Red Hawks? You could have that debate last week, yesterday, but now Nebraska does have a 1 in the loss column. It sort of makes them like a lot of other teams. Still a wonderful story, but not chasing perfection anymore. But Miami, Ohio still is, and favored to win every game going forward in the regular season. It is a terrific story, and I know that they don't have many quad 1 wins or any quad 1 wins, and that's just a byproduct of the schedule. That is a byproduct of the league in which they play and the hesitancy among power conference programs to schedule them, because maybe nobody thought they'd be this good, but people did think they would be pretty good, and just stay away from that. But either way, this is a Red Hawks team that's now 21-0. They trailed by as many as 10 points last night, and for 76% of the game, but they won the second half by 6 points. They won the game. Ian Elmer got a career high 30 on 14 shots. It's a neat thing that really, if you told me they're not going to lose before the NCAA tournament at this point, I guess I'd be like, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It feels like that is There's something special about this Miami team. I think that should just be noted. Like, they have remained perfect. It hasn't been perfect to remain perfect. Like, they've had 2 wins in overtime, 1 win last night by 2 points, and that is just in their last 3 outings alone. But the resolve, the resilience, Travis Steele's talked about this on a number of occasions this season. Like, there's something that is just kind of special about this group, that the resolve and the way that they come together in tough moments. They just seem to find ways to persevere through tough times. And, to get a win last night, to remain undefeated, is absolutely awesome. And they are among the best stories in college basketball. No one expected this Redhawks team to be undefeated at this juncture. And as you noted, like, go to Ken Palm's page right now, they are projected to win every remaining regular season game. They could go into the NCAA tournament with a 0 in the loss column, which is a fun potential outcome that's very much still in play.
Whether they do that or not, they should go into February at least with a 0 in the loss column. Next up, at home on Saturday against Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois is not good. I mean, I'm sure they try hard. I'm sure they try their best, but they're not great. But I'm sure they try hard. But like, barring a big surprise, Miami, Ohio is going to be 22-0 heading into the month of February. Terrific story. Congrats to them. Before we get out of here, we'll look ahead to the next couple of days. But first, Josh, real quick, let's get one more word from our partners.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
All right, looking ahead to the next couple of nights, I'm going to be in studio tonight, CBS Sports Network. I believe our cast is going to be Adam Zucker, Ice Young, and the legend Pete Gillen. Triple header, 7 o'clock Eastern. Davidson at George Mason, 9 o'clock Eastern. Wyoming at Utah State, 11 o'clock Eastern. San Francisco at Santa Clara. It's a San Francisco team I just saw out at the kennel in Spokane. Elsewhere in the sport on Wednesday, light schedule, only 3 ranked teams in action. Yeah. Houston, Florida, St. John's, all against unranked opponents in the SEC. Couple of interesting matchups. Tennessee at Georgia, Texas at Auburn. All 4 of those teams are projected tournament teams right now. Any of what I just said interest you?
All of that interests me. I think probably piquing my curiosity, Florida going on the road at South Carolina. Florida coming off a bewildering home loss to Auburn, in which the game was not as close as it seemed. Florida very much still in the mix to win the SEC. It feels like this is a situation where Florida has to get its stuff together. We've believed in Florida for a very long time. Texas A&M is currently the leader in the SEC, but that SEC feels very much open for the taking. That one will be interesting to watch. Houston on the road Wednesday night at TCU, also an interesting one. This is the second of a 2-game road stint for the Cougars. Houston lost on Saturday at Texas Tech, 90-86. And so going on the road against another Texas team, TCU's been pretty feisty in some spots. Houston only taking 2 losses so far in this point in the season. This is a spot where they can prove some resilience, and should be an interesting spot. This is a tough way to try and get back in the win column, going on the road in a potential spot where Houston could go on a 2-game losing skid here.
On the subject of Houston, Kingston Flemings, put your NBA draft hat on. Where is he at according to most right now?
Top 10, absolutely. I'm looking at Fink's actually prospect rankings here. He has him at number 7. That feels like about his range right now. He has gone from someone who was an interesting prospect, but not really on the one and done radar, to a potential top 5 player in this class. And, on a Houston basketball team that brought back a lot, right? Like, they brought back JoJo Tugler. They brought back Milos Uzan. There were some alphas on this team, and he has completely taken over this roster. He leads Houston in assists and scoring. He's been clutch in a number of situations. Possessional size, just checks a lot of boxes for what NBA teams look for in the modern guard. He's been fantastic. And, if you're watching that game tonight, Houston at TCU, keep an eye on Kingston Flemings because he's been tremendous. Just the poise that he plays with as a true freshman for the Cougars. He's been a tremendous find for that staff, and probably not long for Houston because this time next year, he's going to be probably playing for an NBA team.
I peppered you on Tuesday's pod on CBS Sports Network about a couple of other prospects, AJ DeBonsa and Darren Peterson. If people are wondering, this is my way of sliding this in, why we're not discussing Monday night's results. It's because we talked about that on Tuesday's television show, and that is in the feed. You can go find that if you want. Circling back to the SEC, it is an interesting place this league finds itself in. The last week of January, coming off of a record number of teams in last season's NCAA tournament and rating right now as the number one conference at KenPom. But the school at the top of your league standings alone is an unranked team, Texas A&M. Now, some of this, if not all of this, is a byproduct of the schedule. I do not think A&M has played a currently ranked team since it started the SEC portion of its schedule. But still, it's a fact. Buckyball is sitting atop the SEC standings right now, and I don't think anybody would have I really don't think anybody would have said that heading into the last week of January. Texas A&M will be alone atop the SEC standings. That really might not be anything anybody would have predicted.
No, it absolutely would not have. You got, Florida coming off the national championship, Kentucky and its $20+ million roster, Alabama and Nate Oates bringing back LeBaron Philon. No one saw Texas A&M sitting alone atop the SEC standings. And in fact, I'd go a step further, GP, and say no one is probably predicting Texas A&M to keep this up, right? I'm not predicting Texas A&M to win the SEC. Maybe they will. That's probably not where I'm at right now. I think the schedule flips for Texas A&M in a more difficult way. Maybe opens up for some other teams. Vanderbilt among them, Florida probably among them. The SEC, as we noted on the show yesterday on the CBS Sports Network show, totally wide open right now. Texas A&M, unranked Texas A&M, alone atop the SEC standings feels like the perfect encapsulation of that.
I hate my live reaction to you saying Texas A&M is probably not going to keep this up, and I'm like, no, that's perfect to place in a video when they win the SEC. All right, I wish I could take that back.
I brought you in. That's my fault.
I wish I could take that back. Josh, if there's a way to delete all this in post, please do, because you were like, I mean, Texas A&M is not going to keep this up. I was like, no, of course not. Of course not. I shouldn't be so dismissive. Perhaps they can. Crazier things that happen, but it would be crazy. It would be crazy. Yeah. Just because crazier things have happened doesn't mean that wouldn't be crazy. But I shouldn't be so dismissive.
Print the shirts.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it'd just be me. Just be me on the internet on every A&M message board being like, no, of course not. Are you crazy? No, of course not. That's nutty. That's nutty. That's silly. That's a stupid thing to think.
Buckeball's not real.
Yeah. Just put me all over whatever message board Aggie fans are hanging out on these days. Just put me on there. Is Texas A&M's not going to keep this together? Are they? Oh no, of course not. No. I wish I wouldn't have done that. I take it back. Edit all this out, please. For what it's worth, Florida.
I stand by it.
Okay, I'm gonna let you.
You can withdraw. I stand by it.
Hey, out of the two. Hey, there's two of us sitting here right now. Only one of us has ever had a college basketball coach make shirts based off of something he said. All right, that's you, not me. I don't live this life. I'm not comfortable in this space. I'm not comfortable being in jeopardy of becoming a T-shirt. You've already become a T-shirt.
I don't even own the T-shirt, by the way. If Bruce Pearl is listening to this, send me a shirt. I want that 4-14 shirt.
I mean, we're all coworkers now. I can get you a T-shirt. That's no problem. I'll make you a T-shirt if I have to. You are comfortable living in that T-shirt space. You've gone through that. I've never gone through that. I'm not comfortable being at risk of becoming a T-shirt, but perhaps I've put myself in that situation. To your initial point about where this thing might be going, Florida is the projected favorite to win the SEC right now, outright. But that sort of speaks to where we are with the league. It is January 28th. The team alone atop the SEC standings is unranked. And the team projected to win the SEC is coming off of a loss to Auburn, and for parts of the season has been described as disappointing. That's where we are with the SEC right now. Look at that.
There it is.
KB, you inspired that. Look at BP. He's looking good, isn't he?
Does look good there.
He does look good there. 4-14. That was your prediction. You live in this T-shirt space. I'm not comfortable living like this. I don't want to be a T-shirt. I don't want to be a T-shirt.
Listen, that was a tough year. That was a tough year to fade the Auburn Tigers. I will say that.
Oh, man. All right, let's move on. On Thursday, only 2 ranked teams in action. Colorado at number 8 Iowa State, Washington at number 9 Illinois. We're going to keep an eye on those, KB, and then I think I'll have another episode of the Eye on College Basketball Podcast Friday at 9:45 a.m. Eastern, and I'm gonna get some Visine before then. I think.
There we go. Norlander will be back Friday.
I mean, we'll see. I mean,
Okay.
He might be trapped in Nashville. He might be sleeping at Vanderbilt's athletic department. Still on Friday morning. Could be live from Memorial on Friday morning. Could be trapped in the state of Tennessee. A lot of people are.
Sleepover. Him and Byington, Nashville, just hanging out, prepping for Kentucky, prepping for podcasts, doing their thing.
I'd put some reality show cameras on that. I'll watch it. I'd watch an Orlando Byington reality show live from Memorial.
Absolutely.
In all seriousness, like in a lot of parts of this country, it is still very dangerous out there. Like I'm sure we've all seen the videos going viral of the last traffic accident I had, thank God, it was a while ago, but it was on ice. It was just, there was nothing I could do. It was just like, it looks like it's fine. I guess I can drive. And then you're just driving and it's like, oh, wow, I am sitting in a big machine. I no longer have control over this. Wherever this thing is going, it ain't up to me anymore. And that's that's a terrifying feeling. Like I knew I was just going to hit something and it was going to be minor because I was just sort of but I had no control over what I was doing. I didn't fear for my life, but I knew I was about to wreck my car because there was just nothing I could do. But there are people who have lost their lives. And I mean, I heard some stories. My God, I heard one from Yuck. I mean, it involved ice and ponds and kids and ugh. So
Scary,
like,
man.
yes. I mean, I just stumbled into the story and I'm not like a paranoid person, just like by nature, I'm not. But also by the time you get to your third kid, like you don't care about anything. You're just like, whatever, man. I swear to God, like, because my wife and I had one child when we were too young and then 2 children when we were too old. Like we've got to sort of just do this all over again. It's like we're grandparents to our youngest children almost. like when our oldest played like 7-year-old baseball, we were the youngest parents at the field. And now our little guy plays, 9-year-old baseball, and we are the oldest parents at the field. Like the other parents are like, Mr. Gary. Hey, Mr. Gary, good to see you, Mr. Gary. Like our kids are best friends. They call me Mr. Gary. The funniest was I popped into a little tournament one time and I see a woman that I literally grew up with. She lived 1 street behind me. We went to high school together, the whole thing. And I was like, hey, I don't want to say her name. I was like, hey. And she was like, hey. And so like, embraced. And I was like, how you been? She's like, been great. How you been? I was like, man, I've been great too. Because, everybody lies to each other. And,
Sure.
and I said, so which one's yours? And she goes, oh, that's my grandson right there. We graduated high school together. And my son was about to play, to play her grandson. And so, yeah, that's where we're at. Anyway, I think we're talking about ice in Nashville. Oh, so this is what I was saying. So like our oldest son, like for a while, I think until he was an adult, I don't want to be naive, right? But like, I think until an adult, like he had never tasted a carbonated beverage just because we kept it away from him. We were like, no, we don't even keep it in the house, all that stuff, right? I think he's tasted it now, but still doesn't drink carbonated beverage as far as I know. And our little guy is just like snorting Diet Coke. Like it doesn't, we're just like, whatever. Like, man, we don't just please, just whatever, But even after hearing some of these stories yesterday, this was the point. I knew I'd get back on track. I called my wife and I was like, hey, check on Lou. I know he's outside playing, but like, keep an eye on him. Like, just check on him. It's just a night. You wake up in this part of the country that doesn't experience this type of weather very often. It's neat for the kids, and it's beautiful, and it can also turn into a nightmare, and it has for a lot of people. And I don't know how we settled into that story in a college basketball podcast, but anyway, be careful out there. That's what I was trying to say. Be careful. Be careful. KB, thank you for being here.
Glad to be here. Good to see you this morning. I hope you have a great day, GB.
Oh, man, I'm going to have the best day. What are you talking about? Let's call it a show. Shouts to Devin Downey. Shouts to Chester, South Carolina. Shouts to Terry Teagle. He's a legend. Huck Larnell. Thank you guys once again for watching, listening to the Eye on College Basketball Podcast. If you're not subscribed, please go subscribe anywhere you subscribe to podcasts, Apple, Spotify. More of us than there are of them. That should be reflected in the comments. So please do that, and we'll talk to you again real soon, Friday morning. Till then.